You're not here.
We're not there. The car exploded. Come get the girls. I have to stay here with Woodrow.
I'm not the chauffeur. I'm the grandfather. Where are you?
Asteroid City, Farm Route 6, mile 75.
Junior stargazers and space cadets. Each year, we celebrate Asteroid Day, commemorating September 23rd, 3007 BC, when the arid plains meteorite made Earth impact.
Holy Toledo, that's Mitch Campbell.
You were very good in the one about the tramp in the brothel who gets amnesia and becomes a pediatrician. You were very authentic.
Actually, maybe my favorite character I've ever.
I don't know why nobody else liked it.
Oh.
What do those pulses indicate?
What? Oh, the beeps and blips? We don't know.
Some of our information about outer space may no longer be completely accurate. Anyway, there's still only 9 planets in the solar system as far as we know. Billy?
Except now there's an alien.
What's happening now?
I don't know.
I don't like the way that guy looked at us. The alien.
How did he look?
Like we're doomed.
Maybe we are.
I've just informed the president.
How long can they keep us in Asteroid City legally?
The world will never be the same.
That's an alien doing jumping jacks. That's an alien in a top hat.
What's out there? The meaning of life. Maybe there is one.
Are you married?
I'm a widower. But don't tell my kids.
You're saying her mother died 3 weeks ago?
Let's say she's in heaven. Which doesn't exist for me, of course, but you're Episcopalian.
In my loneliness, I learned to give complete and unquestioning faith to the people I love. I don't know if that includes you, but it included my daughter and your 4 children.
Sometimes I think I feel more at home outside the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, wow. Me too.
They're strange, aren't they? They're children. Compared to normal people.
Yes, that's correct.
It's true.
Freight train, going so fast. Freight train, going so fast. I
do a nude scene. You want to see it?
Huh? Did I say yes?
You didn't say anything.
I meant yes. My mouth didn't speak.
Hello, and welcome to the Periodic Table of Awesome. This is a show that happens in a Twitch streaming environment somewhere in the middle of the desert. I am your narrator. I am David Quinn. I'm going to talk about many things that happen throughout the course of this show, but the people around me are also going to talk. You, the person who is facing to the side, what is your name?
My name is Jill. Welcome.
You, the person who is facing dead center, looking directly at me. Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing else to say.
And you, thinking man in the bottom, who are you?
I'm unsure, but I feel like I could really, really use a good old-fashioned American sitcom right now. Hello!
Yes. We're back!
That's really hard to do when you can't
Wish that we hashed out the details of that earlier.
Yeah, I know. We probably should have thought about it harder, but, I would have worn a costume if we had, so anyway.
Oh, hi. Look, we're all there. We can't do jump cuts in this thing yet, so, we just have to make it up as we go along.
Hello to everybody in the chat. So nice of you to join us. Welcome to this very, idiosyncratic, very strange, very Wes Anderson. Acerbic, yeah.
Welcome to the Quirky podcast, because we're quirky.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to look over here now for the rest of the podcast. Yes. No, I'm not going to do that.
I gotta say, what are we doing? What are we doing tonight? Hello.
Hello. We're talking about Asteroid City, the latest Wes Anderson creation.
Take me down to Asteroid City, where the grass is non-existent and the girls are surprisingly honest about their feelings.
But also, you can get a martini in a vending machine, so I'm very down for that.
Yeah. And also buy property for $10 in coins.
Yeah, well, not technically property.
Yes. Also, welcome to Asteroid City, which apparently has just got every single fucking actor who has nothing else better to do with their time just hanging around in it.
Except,
why wouldn't they?
It has every single actor who was just wanting to be a part of a project, except for the one that's usually associated with Wes Anderson films. There's no Bill Murray.
I will take that and actually raise you. There was a Bill Murray. He was cut. You can find his deleted scene on the internet.
Well, holy shit! I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a bit of a snub for the old Billster.
It's a weird like another inception within the thing of they're filming a commercial about the movie that for the play about the TV show that we're watching in a film.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, my brain just turned inside out.
Yes. Unlike Christopher Nolan films where this one is like, oh, is it something within something within something? This is kind of like, it could be something. It is actually something, but it's something about something about something about something. Yes. Remember? But it's so pretty.
Ah, it's so
But
pretty.
it's so pretty.
It's a mood. It's a color palette.
Oh, was it you didn't enjoy it, Quinny? You did hard on your sleeve straight away. It's like, nah, Asteroid City, more like shitteroid ast. What's going on?
Yeah, look, I'll wear my heart on my sleeve if you want and go, I've never been a huge Wes Anderson fan. Like there have been a few of his films that I've kind of, latched onto and gone, oh, that was entertaining. But this is definitely one of those ones where I started watching and went, oh yeah, it's Wes Anderson. Yeah, right. And I had to get myself into that
frame of mind.
Yeah, that oeuvre to kind of go, right, where are we? What are we doing? Oh, okay, everybody's going to talk in this way. Right, okay, that's what this film is. Right, okay.
Yes. I can say that I am a Wes Anderson fan. I enjoy his style very much, and I love the comedy and the styling and the color palettes and just the weird everything and the very surreal nature of the films. Although I did have to say I had a bit of trouble with the French Dispatch. Might have to give that one another go. And this one, honestly, I watched it on Sunday after I'd been on flights all day after a long weekend, and I'm still sick, and I didn't connect with it. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh
no.
And then I watched it again last night, completely in a zone. And I'm like, I need to just narrow in on what they're saying and listen to it and not do any other screens and just concentrate on what's happening. And I fucking loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done that second watch yet. I need to do that second watch because it needs attention. And
it needs so much attention.
I haven't had the headspace to give anything that much attention. So I watched it because I knew we were going to talk about it. But in an ideal world, I would have watched it properly. So I'm like, I need to watch it again. I didn't get everything that I wanted from it, but I can see what's there. Like that was absolutely my instinct. So I'm glad that you confirmed it.
Yes.
Like I need to watch it again properly.
A second watch in concentration nails it.
Which wouldn't be necessary if you were concentrating for the first watch.
Exactly.
Maybe
Sorry, Wes.
Maybe go see it in a cinema like it's supposed to be.
Yes.
I think I probably would have enjoyed this more if I had watched it in the cinema because there is that thing that you immerse yourself in it.
Yes.
But I do feel like there was a lot of it that was very, okay, you need to be on board with this bit and you need to go along with this concept before you can go along with the rest of this concept over here. And we're going to jump in and out of these concepts. And if you are not like 100% on board with it, then it's not going to let you, it's not going to forgive you for any of that.
I mean, the thing is, I love that shit though.
Yeah, but that was my first viewing experience of like, I am so fucking lost. I can't keep up with what's happening. Oh fuck, I'm fucked.
I mean, I feel like the proper, the way, as in Wes Anderson intends for you to watch this film particularly, but most of his films in general, is from one of those old portable CRT televisions that you can't really make out what's going on, and you just have to try it. And there's occasional static hisses that go on. So, this is. I'm not sure about seeing this one on the big screen, like on in a cinema screen. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this one's better viewed at home.
I would have loved to have seen it just for the true colors, because I'm astonished at how he manages to make something so completely saturated and overexposed, yet still hold so much contrast and depth.
Well, he's just doing a lot. He's just doing
really
a lot of
a
painting.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
He's just
It's a
doing
lot of painting.
It's a lot of painting. It's a lot of Norman Rockwell. It's a lot of other American
Oh, so much
painters.
Rockwell.
Well,
This one just harks back to like those old-fashioned Americana postcards, I feel.
Yeah. And I have to say, watching the trailer, you're like, okay, like, has he finally done it? Has Wes Anderson Wes Anderson himself? Wes Anderson has it folded back in on itself, and it's just going to create a black hole of Wes Anderson. But one of the things I really loved watching the beginning of the film is realizing that actually the look is very motivated. And it lets you then fold yourself into the look because it actually does have motivation to look like that within the plot. So you don't have to spend the entire time being like, oh no, too much. You can just enjoy it.
It's It's a definite it's a different kind of taste, a flavor that is presented in a Wes Anderson film, because I love the fact you can just say, I'm going to see a Wes Anderson film, and everyone who's seen one before will be like, okay, I know what you're talking about. It's gonna be weird, it's gonna be quirky, it's gonna be highly stylized, and it could be good and it could be shit. But you know, he's been making films for almost putting out films for almost 30 years now. And every time it's kind of like the Tim Burton effect. It's like when you hear the name Wes Anderson, you know what you're going to get. When you hear certain filmmaker names, you kind of like, you know, a certain expectation, which is good and bad. And as you said, yes, I'm not sure if this is Wes going straight back up his own backside, or he's a little bit.
I actually think he's got quite a lot more to say in this film than maybe some others. Like, I mean, things that I've enjoyed the most is stuff like Royal Tenenbaums and Grand Budapest Hotel.
I was going to say, I'm loved Grand Budapest.
Those have such a wit about them. They kind of stand apart from his other stuff. But this, I feel like there's actually a lot of depth to the meaning in it that maybe he's not.
I don't know. I thought it was very
super prevalent and like surface level. It's a lot deeper.
I feel like this was just one long theater gag for a lot of people who do theater, which is like, oh, it's not so good, but some of the lines in it are great.
And I mean, it is very clever. Should we perhaps have a synopsis so we can actually talk about what this film is about? And this is a synopsis that's got a lot of fucking heavy lifting to do. And
Can I make a request?
Yes, you can.
Can you read the synopsis in Jeffrey Wright's General?
Quinny, ready to start? Stop.
This is my speech. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Here's some music for you. There you go. You got some background music there, Q.
Okay. This is my speech. Following a writer on his world-famous fictional play about a grieving father who travels to his tech-obsessed family to the small rural town of Asteroid City to compete in a junior stargazing event, only to have his worldview disrupted forever. World-changing events spectacularly disrupt the itinerary of the convention in an idiosyncratic American desert town circa 1955, called Asteroid City. This is my speech.
That was the end of the speech. Time to get another docket.
Yeah. I was just like, the more I talked to you, the more I realized there were parts of it that I enjoyed.
Very early in the conversation for that.
I know, and I normally this happens somewhere in the ratings, and I'm like, oh shit. But I'm quietly, slowly being won over.
I don't understand this. It's like, wow, I kind of sat there and went like, I really kind of enjoyed this one. And the one that I like, the Wes Anderson film I like the most is probably Moonrise Kingdom, which I found just hilarious. But this one is just quirky, funny. But yeah, it does have a certain message about it, which is like, wait, why are we talking about this? Is this an oeuvre to writing and filmmaking and craft, or is this like just a comedy set in the desert? We don't really. Is it both? And then
great.
And then it ends weirdly. If it is about grief, why is it about this? What does the alien have to do with it? Why is there?
I would say it's actually just an exploration of life.
Why is there
There's so many points where people are saying, why is this happening, and why did that happen, and what's going on, and who am I, and am I playing this character right? And it's kind of just There's a weird thing in this movie where the premise is we're watching a recreation of a play on a television set about a guy that wrote the play. So there's these weird 3 levels within it. But at the same time, we're meeting the actors that are playing the characters in the play, and also themselves interacting with the writer and the director of the play. But then I would say maybe there's another level on top of that, where Jason Schwartzman is Jones Hall, is Augie Steinbach, and maybe we're seeing all of these facets happening in the movie.
And the interesting thing is, a lot of the language of the film is told through cinematic means, in the sense of it shifts from, funnily enough, much like Oppenheimer, which is clearly happening one town over.
Yeah, and Barbie Land in the other town.
Yeah, either that or the beginning of the shit Indiana Jones film. But it's told through the language of cinema ratios. So it changes from being a black and white. I think it's 4:3. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but then goes widescreen and hypercolor. But then occasionally goes into a different ratio again, which I think is almost IMAX, because there are sequences where, and once again, this is one thing I'd like to have seen on a cinema screen as opposed to a TV screen, because there were sequences in the black and white stuff where people's heads were being cut off.
Yes.
And I'm like, is this an intentional thing, or is that an actual ratio of the screen moving to a different ratio that would be right on a cinema screen? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was he was trying to keep the perspective of what was happening with Jones Hall in the background and then the writer in the foreground, and if keeping it on that eye level meant that in the foreground he was cut off here. I could, because I did watch it twice, and then I was trying to work it out. But yeah, it was
did you have fun?
But peculiar.
Either way, did you have fun?
Yes, I quite enjoyed that the play was in full color and cinematic, but then the real life stuff behind the scenes looked like a play. It was staged in 3/4 of a set, and there was just nothing around whatever was happening in the frame.
But then there are also moments where that even turns around and it's not the play, but it's a rehearsal.
Yes.
And there's something else happening, and you're kind of jumping around through time as well, whether you're like, okay, well, there's a scene where they're workshopping the play, and that then becomes something else entirely, and you're like, huh. And there's an annoyed part of me that's like, you probably have to watch it twice to get it, but I don't know that I want to.
Oh, look, it's so funny. There's so many things in there. It's quirky.
Yeah, I don't particularly like quirky sometimes. I'm a pretty quirky dude, but sometimes quirky just shits me.
Can't hang your hat on quirky.
No.
Doing a lot of other stuff.
There's plenty. I think there's plenty of people out there that would disagree.
But the hat would be a trilby.
Quirky's a real niche. Look, I liked it too, because you're also throwing, apart from which one are you following, you're also throwing in there the narrator, which introduces to this entire thing, who's just narrating narrating everything. It's right, here is someone who is writing a play, and then this is a story about how the play gets turned into a television show, which gets turned that goes through these ways, and it just keeps popping in. And I got to say, hands down, Bryan Cranston was great, and there was one particular scene that I loved more than anything else.
Can I take a punt?
Is it the one? Yes, have a punt.
Is it the one where he shows up in the wrong bit?
Yeah. It just goes, wait, I'm not in this, am I? And they just look at him like, no.
No.
Okay. And I just feel like that's such a lovely piece, because it's kind of like an actor doing a step through rehearsals. Wait, I'm not supposed to be on stage, am I? It's like, no. It's okay, I'll just stand off now.
So strange. And
there's an element of that kind of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, what happens on stage and what happens off, and that blending of the offstage and the onstage that I love. And I think that's one of the things that has made me want to give it a second watch. And it's not even that I wasn't paying attention; I just not the right headspace.
I am frustrated by that, because there are so many times I looked at it and I thought this should be so far in my wheelhouse. It's crazy. Like it's goofy 50s sci-fi, which I do enjoy, but it's also plays, and I love metatextual theater stuff. Like some of my favorite stuff is Noises Off, and those kind of behind the scenes play stuff. I dig that, and I think for me it was the willful Wes Anderson-ness of it.
So you're approaching this like I approached a Nolan film, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm just like, look, if Wes Anderson were just willing to just fucking tone himself down a bit and be a little less quirky and a bit less fucking idiosyncratic, I'd be. But no, I understand why it is what it is. It's just whether or not that works for you.
Well, it worked for me. I quite liked it. There, I'm going to put it out there straight away. I quite liked Asteroid City. I didn't think I would. I thought it looked dumb. The trailer's a bit stupid. I couldn't understand why it all was so animated in some sections and yet very like kind of Setsville, but also beautiful, because it was shot very, very beautifully. Like it's such a jarring thing to go from people acting in a very put together kind of nice way, where it's like, I believe this place, and then it just pulls you out of it by going, yeah, and we're going to throw in here basically stop motion animation, which isn't stop motion animation. It's like 3D
Goofy
animations.
CGI.
Yeah, goofy CGI, like CGI goofed down to make it look like stop motion. And look, it was good. I think what saved it for me was the dialogue, and the interactions between the cast was amazing, because it's just everyone is playing their own unique character. And I kind of feel like that there is a 7-volume thick backstory for each character that's handed to those actors that they read, and they're going through, and they have all the understanding for their part, and their lines in it are like 3 lines, and move from stage left to stage right is their direction, but they have to use all that information in their character to, well, how would they move across the stage? And then they kind of play on that and also take the piss out of that. And I thought it was just kind of really wonderfully done, and quite funny and very quick. Like as you're right to say, you have to pay attention to it, because if you don't, you'll be like, this is dumb. I don't understand why. It's like, because you missed a very funny joke that they said 3 scenes ago that tie this one together, and you've just got, okay, fine.
Yeah. It definitely does a lot of that. It definitely says, okay, you have to listen to all of this dialogue, because we're going to pay it off later, or we're going to explain why this is important later on. And if you weren't paying attention at the start, that bit at the end is going to make no fucking sense whatsoever. And also be very aware of what reality you're jumping to and from. There's a bit fairly early on where, and the actor who's playing Augie, I can't remember the actor's name.
Jason Schwartzman.
No, but the actor who Jason Schwartzman is playing.
Jones Hall.
Jones Hall. Okay, so Jones Hall is talking about something that happens later in the play, and you're like, what? Why? Oh, okay. And then when it happens, you go, oh, right.
You smart son of a bitch. You're playing with timelines.
Yeah, you're like Nolan, only wittier.
But only actually clever, and not just making things confusing so that it looks clever.
There's a moment where that pays off, Quinny, and that scene occurs, and the reaction that Scarlett Johansson's character within the play reacts to it doesn't feel like it was scripted. It kind of feels like a moment where she's stepped out of her character in that scene and is playing herself, and is like, wait, did you just do that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, didn't think he would do that. And then it's like, wait, is this scripted? Is this part of it? There's like so many moments like that where when I went back and watched it again a second time, and I was kind of like, wait, it feels like there are a lot of moments where they're actually breaking character, but you don't realize it.
And yeah, breaking from her character of Midge to the other character of the actress whose name I can't remember. But yeah, like, and this is the thing, there are so many bits where you're like, okay, well, I know I'm looking at Scarlett Johansson, but which one am I looking at?
Yeah.
And you know, all of the beards coming off and the moustaches coming off and the kind of weird archness of it all. Yeah.
I think that's what makes it so complex and gives more emotional depth to stuff, is that it's like you're not quite sure if it's just characters playing, like a role being played, or if it's the actors themselves reacting to what this character is going through.
Peter, give us some of your thoughts on it. Are you a Anderson fan? Do you love this?
I'm not specifically a Wes Anderson fan, no. But I do enjoy his aesthetic. And I particularly enjoyed the way it was applied here. Like I said, because it was motivated, it allowed me to just kind of enjoy it rather than criticize it in my head. I loved that it did have that like hand-colored look of, like, you know, old postcards. And I really, and I know this is definitely something that will have annoyed some people, I liked the camera moves a lot because I loved how the use of tracking and dollying rather than panning was able to like perfectly preserve those straight lines in the perspective of each of the frames. And because, you know, been set up to think about a set rather than, you know, a real place, I liked it. It pushed me towards enjoying it more, whereas in another situation it might have pushed me towards just being super annoyed.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing.
Those kinds of movements.
I was kind of like those camera moves and that very 2D-ness of it occasionally did annoy me because I felt like it was just being like, it was just being cool.
It's filmmaker porn.
It is, and I don't dig that.
Porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. I occasionally watched it and it'd be like, well, yep, we're dying. Okay, now we turn. Right. Okay, cool. And every now and then I'd see a slightly fucked up move and like where something like the turn wasn't 100% clean. And I was just like, ha! Because I'm a pathetic, sad little man.
Like,
I mean,
not so clever now, Wes.
Yeah, suck it, Wes. You had to do that shot again, didn't you? Oh no, you couldn't afford it.
But it's funny to be watching it and thinking, that's cool. Someone's going to hate that. Like,
and now we know who that someone is.
It just goes to show, like, it is so much a matter of, like, it is so stylized that it is like lives and dies on taste, really. And I wouldn't blame anyone for this not being to their taste. But for someone who's saying I just didn't get out of it what I wanted to get out of it, but not in a way that made me think it wasn't good, in a way that made me think, no shit, I've got to actually properly watch it. And really let that dialogue, it's very like dialogue heavy, which I love, particularly in the context of, well, it's a play. You know how much I love, like, you know, stage dialogue brought to the screen. But because it's very dialogue heavy, like, yeah, just you have to be there for it or you're going to miss a bunch of stuff. And I feel like I enjoyed what I experienced, but that I also missed a bunch that I want to experience on a second watch, I think. But I also, like, you do kind of get to the end of it and go, I mean, but what was that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, when we get into spoiler territory, I've definitely got some
Well, speaking
questions.
of like witty stuff, we do have an interesting clip to go to, which has a lot of dialogue heavy things. So I'd say we're going to get onto the ratings, and then we can get into the spoiler things because there is a few good spoilery bits.
Yeah.
What do you feel like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to go
Yeah.
first?
I'll go first.
Go, Jilly.
I think I'm gonna give it an 85. It's not my most
Oh.
favoriteest Wes film, but I did quite enjoy it a lot once I gave it my full concentration. I got exactly what I needed to from it, and that was to semi-understand it. So there's still a little bit of confusion for me in like the last 30 minutes because it does seem to just ratchet up. Like there's a second moment of like absolute chaos, and my concentration dropped a little bit again. But 85. I think like solid aesthetic, and that's very pleasing to me, and I enjoy watching something that is just so beautifully crafted. And I use that word very particularly because I feel like he is making art for art's sake, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Nice. I'll go next because why not?
Yeah, we need someone to bring it down.
Well, I'm not going to bring it down that much.
Are you sure?
Don't bring me down.
Proust. I found myself just jumping in and out of enjoyment throughout. Like I'd be watching a bit and going, "Oh, that's very funny," and that sort of is ticking along and doing some interesting stuff. And oh, there's an interesting character. And then something would happen. I'd just be like, "You're just being all fucking Wesy." And then some more things would happen, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's a fun scene, and I like that." Oh, you're being Wesy again, and I think that's more of a problem with me and Wes Anderson than it is with the film. I think it's a very smart film, which I probably should watch again because I had the same problem as you, Jill. I got to the last 20 minutes or thereabouts, and my brain had just gone somewhere else. And so, and I literally, I think, started to fall asleep. And so the last 5 minutes of it, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So,
no one did.
Yeah.
No one did by the end. They're like, wait, where is it?
Yeah.
How are you wrapping this up?
I'm wrapping it up by saying 70.
70.
Yeah, it's. I don't think I can say it's terrible, but I can't give it as much love as I think other people who love Wes Anderson would. Middling. At the top end of middling.
70s, like 50 is middling. 70 is quite good.
Yes.
Like how what's our scale?
We've had this argument many times.
Do we just like never rate anything below like 60 unless it has deeply offended us?
No. I'll go down to like a 45 or a 30 if I think it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, like we haven't done the Meg 2, and I'd definitely give that
10s.
15.
Yeah.
I've given 10s before. Like,
It just depends entirely on mood. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. This is like subjective as fuck.
It's just the vibe.
So the vibe.
Peter, what's your vibe? How many vibes will you give it?
It is a tricky one because I feel like I haven't given the film its due by not watching it properly. So I am going to say 78, but I'm going to reserve the option to make you guys increase that rating on the website if after my second watch where I actually pay attention, I feel it deserves higher.
Great.
Okay, fine.
That is my honest.
There's a caveat with your score.
that is my honest admission of where I was when I watched this.
Okay, fine.
Fair enough.
Great. Good. Dion?
Fair enough. Look, I mean, you know, Wes Anderson for me is always hit and miss. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's terrible. Or like I didn't like it. Like I really didn't like The French Dispatch, and there's others, but we don't need to go into that. For this one though, it was very quirky. It reminded me a lot of Steve Zissou. In the way
Life
that
Aquatic.
that I felt like by the time I felt, but it was just different. It felt like a little bit more kind of, whereas Steve Zissou's kind of funny and quirky and a little bit, it's got a few touch of emotion in there, but it's very comic-y. This one just kind of felt like it looks a bit comic-y and weird, but it is actually kind of mature and a bit conservative and older, but very smart film. Like it's a smart film wrapped up in a box that it's kind of like, oh, this is simple. It's like, oh no, it's very smart underneath, but it just has this whole kind of vibe on the outside. So look, I'm gonna go 80 because it's still not my favorite one, but it is a fun one. I did like it. And if you need to watch it twice, yeah, try and watch it twice. Maybe watch it on a different screen. Maybe watch it on your phone as you're driving somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely how it should be watched.
Yeah, like Nolan intended.
Exactly. Yeah. Put on a VR headset and watch it in VR. There you go. That's my new recommendation. Shall we go to a clip?
I would love to be on that set in VR.
That would be kind of amazing.
Yes. All right. Let's go to a clip and then we'll come back and talk about it. All spoilery. So, wait, before what we say, if you haven't seen it, should you go see it before the spoilery things, or really, there's not much. It doesn't matter about the spoilers in it because
spoilers are super spoilery. It's one of those films.
It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, it's an experiential film that, watching the film will give you the experience, not, oh shit, that thing that was the big shock.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's go to the clip. We'll come back.
Okay.
I strongly question whether your daughter's silly putty resembles anything from outer space.
It's not silly putty. It's called s'mores tosium.
This is excellent.
Thank you. It's really all the machine's doing.
What the devil do you know about astrogeology anyway, JJ, whatever that stands for?
I just maintain the workings.
Sally's thesis is supported by...
flimsy, outdated evidence.
I beg your pardon.
Not in my opinion. I like the silly putty or s'mores tosium. In fact, I'm just quoting what he said.
Your son's project might very well have killed us all today, by the way.
Coming from the family that brought us the electromagnetic
It's
death
a
ray.
weapon. Of course it's lethal.
So you admit it.
Not to mention Brainiac's flag. I mean, is he trying to provoke World War III or something?
The jet propulsion belt is eminently safe. I allow an 8-year-old boy to operate it. In fact, I did. Ricky's cousin Chip, and he broke the solo flight altitude record.
They're strange, aren't they? They're children compared to normal people.
Yes, that's correct.
It's true.
Yes, very strange. The thing that I hadn't noticed, and this maybe makes me want to go back and watch it again, is in that clip I didn't notice
the guy in the background.
The guy in the background who was like quite literally the government spy, just trying to learn all the new technology that kids have invented in the 50s.
Well, the best part is he just keeps showing up in the background with shot after shot after shot. Like he's almost a Where's Wally of the film, and I started to realize how funny he was, where he was just kind of popping in at the edges of scenes and then kind of disappearing again.
Yeah, and it is being noticed. Yes, thank you in the chat about the tiny vending machine. Sorry, vending machine for the tiny martini. So it's teeny martini. I would like a teeny martini.
Are you speaking Jawa or something?
Sure. Yeah, absolute tiny martinis. I would think is everywhere. It was lovely.
I love the idea that this is just a place where everything comes out of a vending machine. Would you like some land? Vending machine.
Well, I mean, you also kind of think about it. There is not much in a desert, and when you do find a town that is being run, it has to last for a long time and be accessible 24 hours a day. Why wouldn't there be a vending machine for pretty much everything?
And Matt Dillon is your mechanic who's just like, oh, you're here. This is what I found myself doing so often, is just like, you're here. Okay.
Yeah, you're all here. You're all having a lovely series of vignettes to do your own thing. You're just basic. Like, I mean, I would love to be on that.
Oh, you're here.
Yeah.
I would just love to be on that set because you're just trying to figure out who is going to eat the most scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's going to be eating all of the set on this? Because they're all chewing very
I wish
hard.
we'd got more Hong Chow. Can I just say? Like, she
Yes.
appears for one scene. And I'm like, no. More Hong Chow, please.
Because I was watching her and I'm like, fuck, I've watched her in a series recently and went, I know her voice. Who is that?
Yeah.
And couldn't think of her name, but was just like, yes, she's oh, she's here.
Yeah.
In fact, there were so many. Oh, they're here. There's Jarvis Cocker. There's fucking just weird people in the background. You know,
and so
we're in
George?
Spoiler Town, aren't we?
Yeah, I put
We
the
certainly
spoilery
are.
thing up. It's up now.
Okay, when Margot Robbie appears and you're like, oh, you're here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Doing just an amazing little scene in between. Like that scene was wonderful because you all catch at the end where they just switched back out of like they weren't in a scene and they started talking about like boring stuff. It's like, oh, they were two actors talking about coming off stage and performing different plays and doing a scene together, but they were actually just doing a scene together. And then they finished that scene and then they just started talking about random shit. And I was like, oh my God, it's so meta.
But there's this beautiful bit where I guess Jones Hall comes out onto that landing to have a cigarette or just to get fresh air and says to her, "Oh, you're the wife that almost played my actress." He doesn't say you're the actress that almost played my wife.
I know, I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very like, hang on a second, wait, what did I hear?
And I love it because like there are so many of those parts that are kind of almost kept secret. Like
yeah, it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of situation with a lot of stuff.
you know, the person inside the alien suit.
Yeah.
Just like,
yes, Jeff Goldblum. Oh, he's
why
here.
wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
You know, even though we're very much aware of the fact that it's actually a piece of CGI. And
But you when you think quirky person in a Wes Anderson film playing an alien and you don't think Jeff Goldblum, something's gone wrong with the world.
this is true. Absolutely.
Did everyone
Willem
like
Dafoe just shows up? Oh, you're here.
Did everyone like Chekhov's gun?
Which one?
Yeah, all of them. I just couldn't believe that every single man in this thing was armed. Like somewhere they're carrying a pistol for no reason.
It's 1955 and it's America.
And obviously it was there. It was there to show how dangerous everything was in that town because of the constant car chases, which are only stopped by the blockade of the military, and then they continue on. What the hell?
Yeah.
I know. The tiny little details.
I want to talk a little bit about the ending because it's the part where like the whole thing is told in a really interesting structure in that it decides, okay, we're going to go full Brechtian alienation device here and say, okay, we're going to put up scene numbers. We're going to tell you how many scenes are going to happen. And we're going to, break it down so there isn't even an intermission. And then you hit Act 3, I think it is, which we've already been told at the start it happens a week later. So we know the time frames of when things are happening, and we're then told, okay, it's going to be played with increasing intensity, and like they'll tell you that right in a title card on the screen. But then something happens towards the end of it that as I said, I feel like I'd half fallen asleep or I was missing something, but it turned into a sequence in the rehearsal room that I make no bones about it. I didn't understand it. I got lost and I'm like, what the fuck?
It's very confusing. It's a room full of actors and understudies and extras and whatever, and they're reading through the play. But then there's a weird, surreal moment where some of the characters in this black and white scene appear in color under a spotlight and say, you can't wake up if you never fall asleep. And it's very dreamlike and surreal and bizarre. And the only theory I've seen about it is that it's like a commentary on like, you'll never reach enlightenment if you don't know that you're in darkness. A weird kind of moment of like, you'll never wake up to the truth if you never fall asleep.
Okay, because I felt like the third act really does rattle along, but then also comes to a screeching, weird, abrupt halt.
Yes. This is why I feel like I need to watch it a third time, because that last act is extremely confusing, and they do warn you that it's going to be played with increased intensity, and it surely is, because it's chaotic, and I had a lot of trouble concentrating and keeping everything straight.
And so, yeah, when we got to the rehearsal room and they started that "you can't wake up if you never fall asleep," and they've already introduced the idea of this the writer wanting to play a scene where all the characters are asleep, and the actors have started acting asleep. So that's already happened sometime earlier, and I was like, okay, I'm waiting for that little bit of clever closure to really kind of bring that ending into clear focus for me as to what was being said.
Yeah, there's really no real answer.
Yeah, and you know, the alien is there handing you the asteroid, telling you that you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep, and I'm like,
But they also asked the writer, what is the play about? And he doesn't know. He says it's about infinity and some other things. And it's like, okay.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Yeah. I
think it's
struggled with that.
Entirely up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Or not. You
And
can just go
usually I'm
with,
down for a bit of that.
or you can just go with the interpretation that is being presented for you, which is 50s Americana is the peak of anyone's society, and we should all just try and strive to live in that space. Or not. Sure.
Oh no.
I think one of the funniest things. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, I just think that weird ending could just be a commentary on the weirdness of the rest of the film, on like you're not quite sure if the actors are playing a character or playing a character within the character of what's happening in the play, or themselves, or looking at it broader, it's Scarlett Johansson and Jason Schwartzman playing somebody that's playing a character, and it's a performance. The movie's a performance, the play is a performance, and everything within it is art that's happening.
And within the play, they're rehearsing her
Yeah.
play as well. So like,
yes, just gives
and-
more layers.
And Quinny, as the only qualified thesp within us, this is just definitely what happens at large ensemble casts for plays. You just get together and you all have to break your shackles. You have to
absolutely.
Yeah,
we do a lot of.
Yeah, you have to destroy your idea of what everything is until the only thing left is your character in this play.
Yes, and then you let the character be free. Actually, one scene that I did think was very clever and funny, and at the same time commenting on. So I've heard a lot of commentary back and forth about Oppenheimer and the nude scenes and stuff like that, and how that they are completely fucking unnecessary.
Yes.
And heard an interesting thing today that I hadn't heard about how offensive it was to certain cultural groups that they quote from a religious text, the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
in a sex scene in a really dumb way. And I was like, fuck, I hadn't even picked up on that because I'm culturally blind to it. But this one had a nude scene in it that I thought initially you go, oh, Jesus, okay. I wasn't expecting the nude scene. But then I love the fact...
except that she said, there's a nude scene in this. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, well, yes. But then she starts...
Didn't expect it.
Well, no, because she starts saying, okay, there's a nude scene in this. Do you want to see it? But then she starts acting like she's having a shower with her clothes on. And I was like, okay, so she's
I think that was her character wanting to reveal herself to...
Absolutely. But I love the commentary afterwards, which is them discussing backwards and forwards over whether or not it was an actual nude scene or whether they could get a body double in to do it. Because I guarantee you that half the audience is going, that wasn't her, was it? Body double. Oh, shit, they just said it.
She says, do you want to see it? And then she's like, well, he's like, didn't I say anything? No.
I said something, but my mouth didn't move.
Yeah, I said yes. And I love that. I also love the little bit of foreshadowing, like, oh, I can do a good death, I can be so depressed. And then later when we cut to that and like, there's that moment
like,
where you're watching
in
this,
a bathtub surrounded by pills and like,
frame and everything. And for a second, everyone is just like, oh shit, did she commit suicide? And then, there's just that really nice kind of like, anyway, what's the photo like? Kind of thing. Like, oh, God damn it, she got us. She's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Oh, damn you, Midge.
Turn out.
Yeah, all his photos turn out.
I like it. Yeah. See, look, now you're thinking about it. You're like, oh, this is
I
way better
know.
than I thought it was.
Oh, my favorite characters? The the little triplets.
Ah, Cassiopeia.
I'm a bunny. I'm a witch.
Is it Andromeda, Pandora, and Cassiopeia?
Yeah,
What are you
fucking
doing?
amazing.
Yeah. All twin, well, triplets: Ella Faris,
Yes.
Gracie Faris, and William Faris.
Faris.
They were fantastic.
Yeah. And I enjoyed weird grandfatherly Tom Hanks, who was also kind of an asshole. Like, okay.
Yeah, at least he was upfront about not liking his son-in-law.
Yeah. Oh,
He's like, I don't particularly like you, but I'm going to do this because you're family.
yes.
I kind of like, I like, we all know that people are actors, so they're doing whatever that is around to do it. But I also kind of think about what people are doing at the same time or releasing at around the same time. Like, I'm looking at Rupert Friend. I'm going, okay, so you're playing like a cowboy, which is weird. But I know at the same time you were probably shooting Star Wars. Like, you were probably shooting Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Lol.
Probably.
It's just kind of nice to know.
They're all doing their own weird little things off to the side.
Yeah.
And, Maya Hawke, who I enjoyed in this. I thought I love, what I do enjoy is the very specificness of each of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are cut from a very, very clean, specific piece of cloth that tells you exactly what you need to know about that character for the brief periods of time that you are near them. That she is the Christian teacher who is very, very much struggling against the fact that her entire worldview has come unstuck, but also is being brought unstuck by the very handsome cowboy.
And also one of her students is definitely turning into a cowboy by smoking.
That
Absolutely.
weird little song that he comes up with is so good.
Weird little song out of nowhere.
I just love that in this is all the kids are weird, and that's kind of the lovely thing is in the background. Every single child in this is just a weirdo, and that's
Do
kind
you
of
dare me
lovely.
to do it? It's an experiment.
Yeah.
And that game that they're playing, that I mean, from an actor's perspective, all I was listening to is thinking, fuck, that would have been a pain in the ass to learn.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Now do it backwards, Quinny. Oh dear. It's kind of, and this is one of the things I like. I like cinema that is. This is not this is an original property. It's not based on something else. It's doing fun things. It's doing it in a really nice, stylistic, beautiful way, and it's just presenting fun ideas. And that's what cinema's about. Like, I liked watching Asteroid City because it was somewhat challenging, but also it was important and fun. And I'm like, great, this is what I want to see, and also pretty cheap comparatively.
Yeah.
Just bash out. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone was working for scale.
I was going to say cheap in some ways to make that the thing,
Sure.
but not in terms of just fucking
Wages.
faces on the screen. Exactly,
Yeah.
wages, the wages of sin.
Well, all
I
you got to
feel
do
like-
is put together a 30-year career being a sort of artistic director that everyone wants to work with, and then you can get all the famous people to turn up.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I may need to go and watch bits of it again.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you make a good
Let's
point.
review it again next week.
Yay.
We can't review it again next week, Peter, because we're reviewing something else next week.
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
What are we doing next week? Is
We're doing Blue Beetle, and don't come on Tuesday. Come on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say, is that week? Yes, it is that
Yes,
week.
it is that week.
Yes.
We're going to go see the bluest of Batales.
Yeah. Peter, I can see, is extremely enthused about this.
Peter
Not the
probably
least
knows-
enthused I've been about a movie we've seen together recently.
I mean, Peter probably knows absolutely zero about Blue Beetle, so this will be a very big learning experience for her next week.
It'll be fun.
You can compare it to The Flash.
Well,
But
we are
then-
in DC land, so
Well, we're doing lots of different things. We're doing
I don't think Pete saw the Flash with us. No, she didn't
Didn't
see
you?
the Flash. No.
Oh,
well,
man.
we'll put that on your homework, Peter. We'll get a double play. We'll go and see The Flash, and then we'll see Blue Beetle. And then we're doing later on this month. What are we doing? What are we doing?
The week after next, we're doing
Teenage Mutant,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage
Was
Mutant
it
Ninja
Mutant
Turtles.
Mayhem? Is that what it's
It
called?
is Mutant Mayhem. That is the one. which I'm
And
very excited about.
yes, I bet you are. And then at
Mhm.
the end of the month, we are doing Our Flag Means Death.
Oh,
Because
yes.
we actually missed reviewing season 1 and season 2 is coming out in October. So we thought we're going to give you a recap of season 1 and tell you why you should watch the second season.
Yeah, that was that thing. It's like, oh, season 2's coming out. It's like, did we review that? And I was like, I don't think so.
Nope.
The
Never got around to
the
it.
collective scream, like, why not? It's like, well,
Yeah, why not?
because it took me at least 4 episodes to get around it. After I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, this is a piece of shit. I want to watch it again. And then it took me a little while. I was like, oh, okay. Like until Blackbeard actually came in, I was like, well, this is pointless. Anyway, I'll save that for the end of the month.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun month. We've got lots going on.
And a quick
Jill's
recap.
just got-
I was going to say, so you're going to talk about the recap of the weekend, Quinny?
Yes. I got back from Capricorn in Rockhampton on Sunday, then immediately watched a movie that I was in not the headspace for. I was so tired. Oh my goodness, I've been sick for 2 weeks. Couldn't kick the cold before the weekend, so I was working through that as well. But had a fantastic time, met some amazing people up in Rocky, and they really put on a good show up there. So if you're ever interested or live in Queensland, it's definitely worth traveling. Beautiful town. It was a really fun show.
Yeah, and it looked like a lot of fun. The last time I did anything in further north of Queensland than Brisbane was one that I went to in Mackay. I believe that Rockhampton is nicer than Mackay. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to start a war between them.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's right.
But I gotta ask, Jill, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Rockhampton or Yeppoon?
Well, I haven't been to Yeppoon. I've only been to Mapoon. But I did meet
Perfect.
Crystal's Yeppoon. Little shout out to Crystal's Yeppoon.
Nice.
I believe it's also known as vajazzling. But anyway.
Many crystals.
Yes. And coming up sometime fairly soon in September, we also have Oz Comic Con, which
Yes.
I have seen my schedule for, and I'm going to be real fucking busy.
Yes, it's literally 3 weeks away, and yeah.
Which one's that
Not
going to be?
Real busy.
Is
Not
that the
many
one?
breaks.
Is that the one in Sydney?
That is the one in Sydney.
And where do you go to see that one in Sydney?
I believe it's at Sydney Olympic Park, and I'm just trying to remember the dates. It's the 23rd and the 24th of September.
24th, yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. So if you want to see Jill or myself, we will be there. I'll be on a stage talking to people. Jill will be doing cosplay stuff, I believe.
Yes, you'll find me in the cosplay area.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes.
And I'll be going along with Peter, trying to explain a lot of things and hiding from everyone. So we'll have a special hunt, Dion and Peter, because Quinny and Jill will be too easy. But try and hunt down Dion and Peter. I've got our t-shirts, Peter, the ones with the big targets on the back of them. We'll be fine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This is
Be great. Be great.
But due to occupational health and safety reasons, we can't run, and neither can you. So it's just a whole bunch of fast walking.
Beautiful. Well, let's go and see who else is doing stuff right now. Look, apparently everybody in the world is now playing Starfield.
Great.
Apart from the angry chuds that are angry that it asks you your pronouns before you start. So fuck those guys.
Oh man, for people that don't like pronouns, they're really obsessed about them, aren't they?
Yeah, it's almost like they're getting their own taste of cancel culture.
Yeah.
Wait,
shocking.
what? Who knows? I don't know. I haven't played anything for a long time. But who's playing that?
Well, Barjo is playing it, but also Jordan Raskopoulos is playing it. So I
Oh.
reckon we'll go and raid Jordan.
Let's go raid Jordan, and then we'll see you all next week. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat too, and see you next week.
Thanks,
On
everybody.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday,
Yes,
don't forget.
Wednesday.
Wednesday next week. Bye.
Important. Bye.
circle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. The powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have him teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. But martial arts from Iron Fist and Wall, I'll dance her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out Avengers Assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're right up cheeky now. Say Emma Frost and have her read my mind, or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and then we catch a symphony. It'll just be her